Look at me talking and I'm not on stage. Not hello, is anybody home? I'm here. What's up, Motown Investor? Hey, to go to Africa. It's season 22. It's episode 6. And they over here playing in our face at Project Runway. This was irritating. I don't know how I feel. I do know how I feel. I feel like we're being played with. The moment I don't trust anything that La Roche has to say from here on out. I know he's the, what do they call him? Architect. His building's falling over. Anyway, y'all, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to get into the things. Project Runway. Hey, Lotus Egyptian Flower. It seems like, most of the kids are here. We're going to get on in here and get to talking about these looks. So we're going to start with last week, because we continue in this conversation. They wasting our time trying to decide whether B and Brian should be over here in the top 3. B should, Brian shouldn't. Period, point blank. But they want to go ahead and I don't understand. I don't understand. I feel like, this is not new information, because I think we're all on the same page where Project Runway is different than other reality shows. Project Runway is a show that we enjoy seeing the talent. I think there's something very cool about being in the workroom and seeing the process. I can't tell you how many times I've been preparing for a fashion show and a look is just not coming together. It's something like in your head you had this idea, and because you're in this creative place, is they don't always come to fruition. So you have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. So it's sometimes hard to figure out when is a good time to let it go, when you have a look that's just not working for you. And sometimes something so amazing, what I like to call a happy mistake, sometimes something so amazing can kind of come out of a misstep, something you didn't realize. You know what I mean? You can go and accidentally burn your fabric with the iron and have to make a different choice, in the snap. And you come out with something so much better, you know what I mean, than you started out with. We're missing all that. We're listening to these people, the tacky twins, Tyra and Heidi. If I've been saying that these two were the tacky twins, from the beginning, and if anything has changed, nothing has changed. They've only proven me right. Nina, she's not here. Nina is somebody with, an editorial eye, and she has a certain amount of class in uh, classic fashion. She has a great editing eye, and there's something missing with Nina not being here. We're gonna complain every week. We're gonna complain every week that we're here, because these are the missteps that we're missing out on. And when I say we, I mean all of us, because I feel like everybody's saying the same thing. La Roche came over here. Hell, the Joseph McCray show, is that his problem? Because he doesn't get to say the La Roche show, because it seems like that's what he's trying to make it. And Zendaya. We love Zendaya. We do. We think she's beautiful, but you can literally throw a paper sack at Zendaya and make her, look fabulous. So I want him to stop acting like, it's so complicated to style Zendaya. I have the sentiment of, you know, a lot of other people out here. Heidi and Tyra are Tiffany and Brittany of fashion judges. Tiffany and Brittany, like from the mall? Oh, from White Chicks. I'm glad you gave me the reference, child. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that they're models and that part is true. And they're both like icons as far as I'm concerned in the modeling industry. That has nothing to do with their taste. They are two models who, have been styled by other people. And so, you know, we sitting up here now with Tyra telling us how she really likes this textile that Bobby made over here. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This droopy drab dress that looks like it fell into some like black dye while she was trying to figure it out. This textile is not beautiful. I will give Elizabeth credit for a good textile. Like she was going in a direction, but she can't sew. And this is my thing. Remember that season when Anya came over here and she couldn't sew and she won the whole thing with all them like bohemian dresses that didn't have any. It was a vibe. It was the right dress at the right time. But Anya also had taste. So something about her taste made her collection, work. In my opinion, Law dressed one body type because Celine Dion is another one. Like you talking about two people that have model figures. These are not women that have any type of, and I'm gonna just tell you, the two curvy girls, um, Anna's model from last week, Aliris, I don't mean, I mess up her name every time. You don't think Heidi has a stylist? Well, it shows, child. Maybe she needs one. Um, Aliris, I don't care what you put on her. She's a curvy girl, but the way she models, and it's been my experience a lot of the times, the bigger girls generally rock the runway. They take their moment and they run with it. So yeah, Aliris does do a good job of making your clothes look good because I've seen her strapped up and wrapped up in some horrible things, but she came over here and did the damn thing. And I don't know who Joseph McCrae's model was, but she got nice, legs and booty and thighs and yeah. So you put her in something and she's gonna make it look good. You said I've seen him spending time with Orlandria also. Well, another one. And you know what? To go to Africa, him spending time with Olandria is a good look for him. It keeps him relevant. I seen there's this show with what is its name? Questlove, which is totally, has nothing to do with fashion. But Questlove has a podcast and he has people come over and play games and it's kind of corny depending on who's there. But I did see it was La Roche and Olandria and what's the little girl that the gymnast that they took her medal away even though she won? I can't remember her name. But they were all over there at Questlove's podcast. So maybe that's where him and Olandria, hooked up. But like I said, him styling Olandria is a good look for him. Olandria was over there modeling for Bishme too. So he stole the word architect because what has law built? um, you had to ask him. I'm not going to take away, what Law has done. You know what I'm saying in the fashion industry. You said show me a variety of body types that stylist he has dressed before. Generally, Lotus Egyptian flower. There's not a whole lot of body types on the red carpet, unfortunately. I will say it's so funny because remember when Christian seasoned and he was killing it, and then he got that chubby little brown skinned girl that came over there. They had to make the dresses for the kids, and that little girl wore his ass out where he was ready to quit. And he went ahead and let her guide him through the design. And boy, he was ready to throw that child because they had to do children. He was ready to throw that child out the window. I think that was the first time that he went on the bottom, Christian. And then fast forward to today where Danielle Brooks, I think her name is, from Orange is the New Black, couldn't find nobody to dress her on the red carpet, and her body type, her complexion, it was almost like that same little girl. Was that Danielle? I'm gonna have to go back and look at the season, because it was like that little girl grew up to be an actress, and that was Danielle. And then he put her on the red carpet, and she's always in Christian Siriano, and Christian always like reaches out to the girls who don't have model body types. So yeah, La Roche is a snub. He's been with her since she started modeling. You mean acting? You talking about Zendaya? Um, anyway, I'm not going to discredit him in terms of what he has done. The fashion industry is the gatekeepers. Got the gate locked so tight, so not a whole lot of women could get in unless they're 6 foot and size zero. Oh, he's been with her since she started modeling. Alandria. It's a good matchup, because I tell you what, Alandria is one hell of a muse, and La Roche has the keys to the gates. So this is funny because they hate Alandria so much. This is off subject, but we talking about things, all things fashion and other things. Um, Love Island, which I probably won't, I don't review Love Island because this is too much. But, I watch it because I get FOMO when everybody starts talking about it. I don't know what's going on. And I love the breakdowns. I don't break down like in a therapy way. What do they call it? A deep dive. I don't do a lot of deep dives. I'm just over here. We just hanging out and talking about, our opinions on things. It's just real light. I don't have no time. Well, I mean, I do have 30 plus years behind the chair as a hairstylist. So I don't know if they certify you for that, but let me tell you, there's a lot of psychology and therapy going on. Anyway, I done got so far off track. Alandria. None of these girls on Love Island are gonna get. I don't believe this. I think Alandria was an anomaly, and this was her destiny, and she was blessed to be here. And show them what you got, Alandria. So every red carpet that she's on, I'm here for it. Anyway, Bobby and her Jarabi textiles. And so, yeah, Elizabeth is out. It matters not to me. Elizabeth, Bobby, they both suck. So for whatever reason, they're keeping Bobby around. I'm not sure. Every time Bobby sends a dress down the runway, I'm like, what is happening? Because what you call Jeffrey, no, that's a costume designer. Ones that's on movie sets and things. I feel like Jeffrey got robbed. I'm gonna just say that now. Jeffrey got robbed. So let's get into this episode. Let's get into this episode because they wasted our time. Like I said, at the end of the day, they chose Naeem as the winner. I think this was Naeem's challenge to win. Honestly, um, Jeffrey and Naeem were the top two, and the rest of them were just safe aside from Elizabeth. But I think Naeem was the right one. Now I think it's time for Naeem to show a little versatility and show how his aesthetic can translate into other realms, like red carpets, because everybody can't be a soldier, and I think he learned that this week. Thank God he had immunity. And at the end of the day, even with that nonsense that he put together, it still wasn't worse than what Bobby had to do. I don't understand how Bobby was even chosen. Isn't it like disappointing as fans of the show? And I feel like when I'm over lurking in the Facebook page, I don't comment on Facebook pages. It's never worth it. Okay. YouTube, academia, and some. Haven't seen you in a minute, or maybe you was in the bushes. Um, I feel like cheated. Project Runway fans are very passionate. Even the ones that are not fashionistas. They're very passionate about, because you look at the work that these people do in a day or two, and even as somebody who does sew and design, you have no idea how hard that. I'd be stuck in a corner for 4 hours trying to figure out what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't take it for granted. Um, that dress does look like he's what he's wearing. That means he referenced some things that he's already done. Um, I don't take for granted like how much talent is coming out of a day's worth of work, but I just so wish that we still had Bao over here and that we still had Octavius over here. Um, I think we got cheated. I think we got cheated. And then the first young lady, I can't remember her name, but I think that her and Naeem may have been similar aesthetics and they went with a person, who was more talented in sewing. But yeah, having what's her name? Bobby, Chloe, Elizabeth. I feel like this is just a waste of space. And we could have done something different. Um anyway, moving on. We that was last week. We're moving on to next week. It's the Joseph McCray show. Honestly, I feel like they're using that as an excuse. I'm sorry, but it's the Joseph McCray show. It's not because of Joseph McCray. I would say that. I say the producers made the Joseph McCray show because what they keep doing is showing Joseph McCray. We get 15 Joseph McCray confessionals per episode. So Brian felt like, well, first it was B. B came in there and was like, I'm sorry. Well, sorry what? I'm with Joseph. What you sorry for? You said what you thought. Is that what you thought? Or, I'm not sure. You should have said Brian because Brian is an imposter. He's a freak. He's a fraud. He felt like it was necessary. When I say he, I mean Brian felt like it was necessary to tell Joseph McCray that he's irritated. This is not the Joseph McCray show. This is Project Runway. Right, we know that. And anybody being bothered by him saying it's the Joseph McCray show, I mean, grow up. It's annoying, but it's not that serious. And then he followed up with the work doesn't measure up to the name. I'm like, Jeffrey, now, really, bitch? Jeffrey was over here calling everybody a bitch. Now I'm under the influence of Jeffrey. Really, bitch? Because you can't sew. Period. I feel like every week I come over here and give Joseph McCray credit for the work he put on in, you know, becoming more technical. You know what I'm saying? And he's only going to get better because the more people say change your aesthetic, you don't change it. But just like Naeem, you could say the same thing about Naeem in terms of he his looks are very much similar. So, you know what I mean? He has a tailoring skill that's to be appreciated. But if we're talking, isn't that what they want though? Aren't you supposed to like make your brand? Like when Joseph McCray's look comes down the runway, whether you like it or not, it's definitely got his signature on it. You said they're exploiting Joseph's confidence to see if he's really that guy. He's that guy. And at the end of the day, and I say that because of how he handled things. Just like he told me, keep it, say it with your chest. Don't try to take it back now. Hell, everybody said me. But at the end of the day, I'm out of 20, all these people, I'm one of the 22 that they chose. And I've been at the top more than anybody here, and I have not been at the bottom. So he's not wrong about any of that. So why not Bobby? Why won't they say Bobby? Why won't they say Elizabeth? Because, come on. So it's pure hate. It's pure hate and envy. Shout out to the Joseph McCray show. Shit, we probably need more of that because right now Project Runway is under the influence of something I don't like. Um, yeah, so anyway, Elizabeth is out. This week's challenge is the designers are to create a look for Heidi for the Devil Wears Prada premiere. They keep saying Heidi likes like to show a lot of skin, and Heidi, wants to be. she'll wear, no panties if she can. I think it's time for Heidi. Who said that she don't have a stylist? I think it's time for Heidi to get a stylist. So anyway, they were over in this workroom trying to figure it out. What are we gonna do? Who we gonna start with? I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. And okay, that's a lie, because if I was really starting from the bottom, I would start with Brian, but we'll start here. Bobby. Who's wearing this? Who is this girl? Who does she have in mind? Who does she have in mind when she took these colors and patched them together? I'm not sure what the idea is here. It's like she just was making things up as she went along. You know what I'm saying? And she's not a good seamstress. There's nothing intentional about this. When you look at Jude's dress, he did the math. He mapped out exactly where the waist, was going to fall. This was just like stuck on here. This fabric is difficult to work with, especially if you're going to do all this bunching and pleating. It's a hot mess. La Roche sat up there and said he likes the asymmetrical bust line. That is not asymmetrical. That is not asymmetrical. That's off center. Them busts don't even look the same. Like they're supposed to look the same. You know what I mean? Why would you want to do that? Only a man would say something like that. Only a man would say, "Hi, Emily Dance 8835. What's up, El Cid? I gotta go catch the replay because I was definitely behind the chair when you came on. I was so irritated because I saw the notification, but I had to keep on. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Welcome to the chat, Emily. This is the first time I think I've seen you here. The bus line. Who wants that? Who requests that? On what planet is any woman asking for twisted boobies? She low-key tried to channel Brian's salad mix look. They were both bad. I don't know what's in her salad. That's that salad from what is it, Taylor Farms? This dress is a Taylor Farms dress, and it's gonna make us sick to our stomach if we keep looking at it. Ugh. You say you hope things are going smoothly for Elsa. Child, she got a lot going on, don't she? She got it. She runs the spaceship enterprise. Elsa has it. She's over there like on her keyboard, da 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 da, getting things organized. She's got a binder like what's her name? Monique from Potomac. She got it. What woman wants uneven bust line? Nobody. Nobody. It's gonna make people look at you and be like, your dress is twisted. And then she, I don't know, added these beading things for what? Russia is very sad, clearly. What I don't know what's going on. I know what's going on over here. Russia must be worse because man, she looks sad. She always picked these drabby colors and ugh, hot mess. Anyway, Bobby's on the bottom, and as she should be. Nothing I have nothing good to say about this dress. Nothing fits. The model is not styled. I wish they would this is a nice looking lady too. When you look, so all of her body is covered up and her boobies are twisted. This is the same girl that I'm looking at the chat, not Emily. Um yes, Emily found Emily, you're an L citizen? Is Emily an L citizen? Well, you know what? She's new over here, and since she's an L citizen, let's welcome Emily. Welcome to the chat, Emily. We loved other people's opinion, and when I say we, I mean me. I like to hear what y'all are thinking over there. This lady, this model, has a great figure. She's thick, just like Joseph McCrae's model. Why don't they style her? They just do that same thing to her hair, which is nothing. None of the girls are wearing her hair like that. So, she didn't even consider the hair. And maybe she was trying to make the hair like Heidi. It's not. It's not giving Heidi. It's giving I didn't pay her no. Do her hair, curl it up. And the Ulta Beauty people are over there trying to sell their products. Her personal style is a bit drab as well. She's drab. I think the cutest thing she had is this jacket that's in her this jacket that's in her profile, cast photo, makes her look kind of fun. Like, she looks like an edgy girl. She's not. She's just pretending to be edgy. She's just a sad girl that doesn't sell well. And apparently, she goes in the fabric store, finds the saddest stuff. Um, Enough about her. I want to see this girl in something cute. Can somebody like else get her? Um, Somebody else needs to get her as a model. Another thing, the button bag. We want to get the button bag back. Do Lifetime own the Bravo? Do they own the button bag? I don't think so. Anyway, let's move off of her. On to the next. I'm gonna go on my personal bottom. Aside from you know who, we'll leave him. Um, let's go here. Because this week for me was not the Joseph McCray show. If Joseph could have been on the bottom at any time, this would have been the time. I think Heidi was not nowhere in his mind when he made this dress. The dress is okay. Would I wear it? Probably not. It's just not my taste. There's nothing wrong with the dress, but this dress says the Joseph McCray show. This don't say nothing about Heidi, and I don't see Heidi wearing this. Yeah, period. I'm gonna agree with Christian. I don't love the buttons. I think the buttons are a bit much. The dress would have been a little more clean. I feel like maybe his inspiration was Devil Wears Prada because that I'm getting Devil's Wears Prada, but the strap on the shoulder is ill fitting, and that could have been cut a little bit better. I think he's better than that. He must have been rushing at that point because if the strap at the shoulder was cut better, then it would have accentuated those beautiful billowy sleeves. He did a great job, with the sleeves. It's giving Tamara Hall at the ESPYs. Tamara would have killed it, but I mean, I don't really like the buttons. It's definitely not giving. I don't know how to say this. I'm gonna just say it like I mean it. It's not giving white girl. I definitely think a black woman, it is what it is. I think, sometimes women of color pull off things a little bit better. And I feel like, he's got this model and it is what it is. We don't know how we arrived to that. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Emily Dance 8835. What I do over here, because YouTube Academia and some that I can't I can't like cut that. I have to say you got to say the whole thing like this. But if I can call you Emily Dance and leave the 8835 off, you know what I'm saying? The belt got to go. Let me look at it again, Academia. You're right. You know what it is? It's that buckle. I'm not mad that the belt accentuates the waistline, but there starts to be, what do Christians say? This is a lot of look. Didn't Heidi say that she liked it when it came down the runway? It's a pretty dress. I'm not mad at the dress. I just don't think it fits the challenge, and we got to keep that in mind too. The belt, I don't mind the belt. It's the buckle. The buckle is a lot. If it was a little bit cleaner, if it was blinded out, it would have been better. Blinded out. What you mean, Elsie? I know you in the bushes. Um, I don't know what you mean by blinded out. Um, yeah, it should have been a little bit cleaner, more tailored. Because then there's buttons on the side. The buttons on one side don't match the buttons on the other side. Like I said, it should have been cleaner. There's an issue for me with the fit. I don't hate the dress. I don't like it on this model. He got to stop with the sleeves. Sorry, let it rest. That's one of his signature things, but when they say he's doing the same thing over and over, I would say this would be it. But ooh, imagine we gonna remake his dress, YouTube Academia and some. Imagine if the sleeves were very tailored, like a suit, you know what I'm saying? And get that shoulder line, like you have to curve it. I'm giving like sewing tips now. It can't be just straight. It needed to curve so it can fall properly, on her shoulder. Little tweaks in it. Hell, Brian remade a whole nother dress, so we can't be mad over here if this dress had a little tweak. But at the end of the day, it was a okay dress. I just didn't. I don't think it suits the challenge. I don't see Heidi wearing this. Tamara Hall, yes. Heidi, no. Oh, Anna, has he ever not done those big shirt sleeves? um, I'm gonna go with probably not. I'm gonna go with probably not. Um, Anna, Anna's been one of my faves, but Anna, this is disappointing. I feel like Anna is losing her creativity. I hate a big keyhole like this. I don't care who does it. I can't stand these humongous keyholes. And I like a keyhole. I've made dresses myself with a keyhole, but it's supposed to be a little peek. You're not supposed to see everything. And it's been done. It's been done. It's been done. You said this dress is beautiful. It's better than the one that won. All of them are better than the one that won, with the exception of Bobby. And Heidi would look better in it than the one she wore. I feel like she had Heidi in mind. They were like, Heidi likes to show skin. The back of it is pretty. Um, Something in the middle is missing for me. The way she I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's not giving her a good line. It's just like a block. I feel like I don't know what she could have done different the way she cut it. I hate the keyhole, but I feel like the lining in the middle is just kind of a chunk of black fabric. There's no design involved. And I also like, what if she would have done, we over here remaking everybody's look. What if she would have done like a big bloomer, like those 50s bathing suits, like what's her name? Jane Russell and them, and then just let the black fabric do what it's going to do. And it could have, because it's pretty fabric. I feel like most of them over here, this particular episode is let their fabric do all the work. But, when your client says they want to be naked, what are you going to do? It would probably be more attractive in a different color. It looks too gothic. Does Heidi wear? I have seen Heidi wear black. I think to go to Africa, it might have something to do with that middle part. Like I said, if she would have had one of those high waisted like swimsuit pants, like Jane Russell and Marilyn Monroe and them used to wear back in the day, and just let that black lace like do what it's gonna do. She could have draped it. It could have been a little more dramatic. It's a red carpet. I feel like it's a little bit, narrow. And this model is very narrow. She's very boxy. So yeah, close up that keyhole a little bit. Like we don't. It's not sexy. It's just not. Everybody that does that, it really never really works. Um, let's see. You said I thought Anna should have been one of the top three winners this week. Heidi would have rocked this dress. Eh, I mean, she definitely could have been in place in Brian. Who else? Yeah, she should have been one of the top three. That it should have been Anna, B, and Jeffrey. They playing in Jeffrey's face. I ain't even gonna lie. They are playing in his face. I hope Jeffrey gets every opportunity that he's supposed to get from this, because I don't know, like I don't understand. And I have thought that Jeffrey was almost there every single episode except this one. This was his challenge to win, and they played in his face. I think the movie debuted in the spring, so it feels cold and dead. More for a funeral. Dang, YouTube academia, and then some. Not a funeral. What kind of funerals you be going to where the people got all their titties out and the thighs and things? That's that one funeral where they be like, Monday. Did you ever see that? There's this funeral on the internet somewhere where the lady was down to the funeral singing that Mary J song, Monday, a friend of mine. That's a sexy funeral they going to. Um The judges had nothing to say about this. That's not good, Anna. That's not good. When they have nothing to say, they just looked at it and then walked away. Ugh, sorry, girl. Let's talk about this. Oh, my Michael Kors. That girl got some legs on her. Um, a Hollywood funeral. uh, escort that person out of the funeral. I mean, if you're gonna make the dead man rise up, then mission accomplished. Bring her back on in here. Oh boy, Naeem. Yeah, they look like he looked like it's the same outfit almost. He really just did whatever. He did whatever with the patterns he has in his head. I tell you what, showing that girl's all the way up to her thighs, that was a smart move because it definitely made that dress look better. Um, we know this isn't his best work. Was not, designed for Heidi. This girl right here has an amazing figure and it's not showing, what she got. If they don't stop with these freaking pumps, what is wrong with these people? Oh, I guess it was a red carpet, but I just, child, there had to be another shoe over there. I don't really have much to say about Naeem's look. A fashion school show. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Um, I'm disappointed, but everybody gets one. I feel like when they have immunity, they kind of, lose it. Naeem fell into the not listening category when Christian told him that fabric wasn't going to work together. I don't believe in trying something so out of the box. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the fabric store and you want to try a little something, then you need to have a backup plan. And this army thing was not a good backup plan. At the end of the day, even if he didn't have immunity, he wasn't worse than Bobby. So, but he should be glad he had immunity. Yes, El Cid, he's wearing the same outfit, except his is better because his fits him. Hers is kind of just bagging off of her. It's almost like he got a different model at the last minute. This just it's not fitted well. It doesn't make sense. It's he said 3 hours, and so I'm gonna give him in 3 hours. That's a lot of work. So there's that. Who else? Where we gonna go next? Jude. I wanted to kick Lauro in his teeth when he said he would prefer Bobby's dress over this. Jude needs now see the difference in the way Jude thought out and planned the what he calls lapels, a play on a suit, the lapel shaped waistband. It's not just thrown up there. It fits perfectly. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. This corset is really pretty. Um, yeah, in the back, I had a picture of the back, but um, clearly I didn't put it up here. But the back has, the lace, the eyelets and the lace up in the back. It looks better than Bobby and Brian's. I like this dress. I would say I want the corset and he can keep the curtains. That's what I was gonna say. Y'all forever like y'all love a curtain, child. I would say he needs to like get rid of his modesty just a little bit. Just a little bit. He should have not put the curtains on and just let this fabric sheer fabric. She should have just let that be it because that's what she wants. She wants to show skin. She wants to, have no panties on for you. So, he's just, somewhere clutching his pearls. I would wear Jude's dress with a red corset. The dress is beautiful. It could be remixed. I would have, like I said, taken the skirt off, the top skirt for this occasion. But you can't, knock his tailoring. His tailoring is impeccable. And would Heidi have worn this? Maybe she should have. Maybe it's her bad taste that's making her on the bottom of the what do you call it? Red carpet list. But I think it's mid. I don't think it was the best. Between her Jude, I prefer Jude's look to Anna's look. So when I said who else would be, I would switch out Anna, for Jude. Jude did not belong in the bottom. You said Jude needs to go outside for one day. His life will change forever. And he need to go outside with Jeffrey. And Jeffrey will, show him how to bring his sexy back. He's so young. He's a baby. I just want to make a dress for my girlfriend. That's cute. That's cute. He probably wouldn't want to put his girlfriend on the red carpet with her coochie out, but you got to take your girlfriend out your mind and put Heidi in your mind. So yeah, Jude's dress would have been probably at the top if he didn't put what y'all are calling a curtain on top. Jude may have been better if it were in two colors or more. Or I thought if that under part was a pair of little slacks now, because he can make a good pant. If he would have made a pencil pant underneath that corset, you could wear that. You said the worst dress list. Yeah. Heidi was, you mean. Heidi over here on the worst dress list. As she should be. Juice suits sell for $10,000. Is that what he's out here pricing his suits at? He could put it back. That's fine. We don't need it. Thank you, Jude, for your time. Have a nice day. Who else? B. Again, I mean, there's no question that B is a good, tailor. His sewing skills are, clearly enough to make this man Brian. I feel like all these opportunities Brian has gotten, I feel like he owes it to B. If B was over there being his intern, this dress is cut beautifully. It's another dress, though. I feel like that's a basic dress, and the fabric is doing all the talking. He did exactly what Heidi asked for. If Heidi were on the red carpet with this dress, she wouldn't be on the worst dress list. The cape is a little matronly, in my opinion. You love B's dress. I like it too. There's nothing to be negative. I don't have anything to say negative about it. I feel like when you're not chop. Oh boy. Um, I feel like it's a little modest for Heidi. So, but maybe that's what she needs. Cause I feel like who one of them twins, the ones that kept them making the little triangle panties, that Heidi cut it out. I mean, Heidi is a angel, a Victoria's Secret's angel. So she used to walking around her underpants. Where did he find those long shoulder pads? He probably made them. I'm sure he didn't get them like already pre-made. He created them out of some, something and covered it up. It doesn't, this dress doesn't excite me at all. It's nice fabric, it's cut well, and I think most people would look good in it, but it wasn't my favorite, not this week. Um, let's go on over to the person that should have won this week. Ain't no way. Ain't no way you can tell me this dress gave everything that Heidi said she wanted, first of all. Second of all, he did that in a day. I mean, really? The way they make a corset in a day is something else. I love the detail. I don't even really, I don't like those pointy things. I've said it over and over, those pointy necklines, but this one is just enough. It's not too much. This would be great for one of them housewives um looks. He brought this fabric from home because he knew that when did they do that? They like, we don't have a great budget, so we're gonna need y'all to bring some of your own fabric with you. Okay, right fabric. I think Heidi would have rocked this. I love how the detailing on the back gives you just a little more skin. He does that little peekaboo hip And I like that too. I don't remember seeing it like well, who was doing that? I feel like Quad was doing a lot of that hip exposure in some of her red carpet looks, but it's very now. You said I think Jeffrey chose a wine color, then it probably would have won. Nah, I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't think he would have won regardless to what color it is because they were so dead set and embarrassing. They want Brian to be a part of this finale. You know, they want to keep Brian here. So, I mean, that's what I feel like. They want to keep Brian here. So, yeah, they stole this one from Jeffrey. This one I think Jeffrey should have won. Just my opinion. And not that the other dresses weren't pretty. When I say B and Jude, I like the dresses. I just think this dress fits the challenge more than any of the dresses did over here. He made this for RuPaul 1,000 times, not for the premiere. I guess the problem with Jeffrey is going to be a lot of people that watched RuPaul seen some of his looks before. Maybe that's how come he was able to do it so quickly, but you know, we didn't see it over here. I didn't see it on RuPaul. I think it definitely fits this challenge. They have cheated him, I think, out of a win because this was the one that he should have won. Yeah, in my opinion. You said you don't think they like Jeffrey? Is it because is it because he's affiliated with RuPaul? And he wasn't even a contestant. He was over there like, I think Jeffrey, and he said it, and I'm glad he said it this week because I had said before, I think he would be an amazing costume designer. So if they're not going to give it to him and they want to give, Lettuce Boy, all these props for whatever reason, then I hope he gets all the opportunities. He's here still. So Jeffrey, keep doing what you're doing. Um, it's not giving matter faction, modern faction. It's giving Party City. Go back to Party City where you belong. Remember that? I haven't watched a drag race in a long time. Mm, Heidi is tacky. Heidi is Party City. Oh, you said I'm surprised no one made a red dress for the Devil Wears Prada. Now, what would happen if he brought this from home, but maybe if he had made it in red, they would have still gave it to Lettuce Boy because this has nothing to do with talent. Clearly they're not over here picking talented individuals. They're, putting talented people on the side, making them safe. What's his name? La Roche is over here talking about he liked Bobby's dress better. Let's get to this clown that think he got it going on so much. One of these things is not like the other. Can you guess which one it is? It's Heidi. These ain't the same dress. What happened? What happened? Brian made a dress that needed to be glued to the lady's chest. And it was just, I'm not even gonna call it a dress. I'm with B. It was 10 stitches over here. There's no sewing involved. Jeffrey said the bitch can't sew. I told you he was calling everybody a bitch. She plucked his dress up. She did it or he did it. This isn't even the same fabric. Part of why this dress was just a little bit okay was the fabric. Now y'all talking about curtains. Heidi looked like she got tangled up in the curtains. Why? For what reason? And I've seen them do dresses before. She wore one of Mondo's dresses on the red carpet. And it was the same dress. They do stuff like, can I get it without sleeves? This is a whole nother dress out a whole different fabric. Brian must be related to an influential or powerful person, or he has something to hold over the judge's head. Otherwise, why are they keeping him there? He hasn't done anything that's impressed me and me either to go to Africa. So since you said that, let's go over here because this is why I call Brian an imposter. I went over to his Instagram And based on what we're seeing over here on this runway every week, he didn't do any of this. He didn't do any of this. Cynthia Erivo wore that dress that he had, his first dress, the one that he brought from home. That's very editorial. Did he make that or did B make it? And then we've got, who is this? Veronica Webb on Bazaar. I to go to Africa, when I was looking at this, I think he knows somebody. That's all I could think of because I'm like, how, he's got a lot of opportunities. He doesn't need this one. This is Veronica Webb wrapped up in fabric. He made this one because there's no sewing involved. All he had to do was like tie the fabric up in the front. He just goes by some yards and scrunches it together on the end. In the words of TD Jakes, have you ever? I'm not saying that. You're not gonna get me in trouble to go to Africa. I mean, lotus Egyptian flower. I'm not doing it. Um, yeah. Have you ever been swallowed? I just said I wasn't gonna do it, and I did it anyway. Anyway, she swallowed in this fabric. That's for dang sure. This one right here. Did B make that? Because it doesn't look like something Brian did. This takes sewing skills. Is that why he kept saying intern? He just said intern, intern, intern. This is the dress he brought with him. Um, I don't know what's happening here. Shit, he could have made that this week. This requires a lot of these stretch knit fabrics, they're a lot easier to work with than, another swallow dress. These are some cool shapes. I'm not gonna lie. I just feel like, did he do it or no? Because it doesn't feel like he did. Brian feels like a whole imposter. This young lady here wore his dress to the Met Gala. Who is she? Um, she's an editor in chief at Allure. So that's a big deal. Yeah, I think he knows somebody. Editor in chief at Allure is wearing Brian's dress. I just feel, like I said, I feel duped because I don't think Brian is, um, his skills are subpar. It feels like the Christian Siriano pipeline to success. Christian is talented, and Brian. I went to Christian's page. I'll do it in a minute, but he references. I feel like Christian Siriano in a way. You say, I think Brian is being paid to sabotage the show. Now the show is known for being the worst dressed fashion. Well, that ain't good for the show. Yeah, why would he sabotage it? Why would they bring him over here? They could have kicked him out, three times at this point. The dress from the Met Gala was not a fan favorite. Really? Y'all got the tea. Y'all got the tea. Let me see. Let me see what Christian Siriano got going on over here because um I feel like Brian references him to some point. I always have his name wrong. Ooh, there he is. Let me see. He just put out a video. And sometimes I feel like Christian comes over here getting ideas from these designers too. But it's this thing at the bottom that he does, and he's always done that. I feel like I've seen on Brian's looks. Look, there's a lot of people out here saying that people are copying and that kind of thing. I think at this point, it's hard to not reference someone. You know what I mean? I think at this point in fashion, it's hard to not reference something, someone. It's just about where you're going, who's the girl, and how to create a look that it's going to get attention. Hopefully not negative attention to put you on the worst dress list. The dress from the Met Gala. Okay, I read that one. You said it's so avant-garde. You're not getting fashion. You're getting a category of fashion. You mean with Brian? You're right. And editorial. Um, Say it again. Christian is referencing Dior. Absolutely. I feel like Christian, when he was before he came to Project Runway as a contestant, though he was a student with one of those big fashion houses. Yeah, he definitely references. That's what I mean. How can you not? Everything has been done. You have your vibe, you know what I'm saying? You have your niche and you kind of move around with it, but at the end of the day, um unless it's straight plagiarism, I think a lot of times it's just like us over here on YouTube. We can get on a subject. I guarantee you could find five other YouTubers saying the same thing, without even seeing each other's channel. So at this point with fashion, like I said, it's you can't reinvent the wheel. You just That's why it's so important to understand your brand and how to present it. Like Joseph McCray or not, he nobody referenced Prada. Maybe because you got to study fashion, Motown investor, and I feel like these people don't, with the exception of Aaron, who's gone. You say, yeah, but who is Christian? A businessman that turned this opportunity into millions. um, Christian is, I think, maybe a younger, more hip version of um, Dior. That's why I think he would serve better as a judge, to be honest. I feel like his judgment in the workroom is not necessarily constructive. I mean, we're going to talk about Tim Gunn because, Tim Gunn was very important to this process. So let me see. We were talking about Brian and his bad dress. It was so funny how he was looking at it as it came down the runway. He's so smug. It's irritating. Um, this guy was on TikTok talking about how it's embarrassing that Brian had brought Heidi Klum over there in that ugly dress that wasn't even one of the ones that wasn't even the same dress.
The fact that Heidi Klum ended up on the worst dressed list at the Devil Wears Prada 2 premiere sums up the most recent episode of Project Runway perfectly. The challenge was for them to design an evening gown for Heidi Klum to wear at the Devil Wears Prada premiere. And for some reason, Brian won. I was so confused as to how he made the top two. Just because a dress flows and is airy does not mean that it's good. I mean, the fabric looks like a tablecloth or a really expensive curtain. If this dress came on the runway on any earlier season of Project Runway, Nina Garcia and Michael Kors would tear this up. Brian got the same positive feedback last episode because his dress, oh, it just flows while she walks. Who cares? A great fabric choice does not a good design make. Let's see what they said about this dress. While we love a flowy bohemian vibe, the Devil Wears Prada 2 premiere was not the right setting for Heidi Klum's seafoam green dress, complete with revealing cutouts, accordion pleated designs, and a wide train. While Klum's dress certainly made a statement, it was ultimately unflattering and shapeless. Mind you, that was Law Roach's critique about this dress. He said that Brian did not design it with her in mind. And the fact that she was also worst dressed at the Grammys, it calls into question her taste as the host of a high fashion competition show. B's design was a lot better than Brian's. The critique was that it didn't look like Heidi, but the same way they made alterations in favor of Brian's dress, they could have did the same thing with B's dress. But the winner of this competition should have definitely been Jeffrey. Heidi would have looked amazing in this dress. And this is not the first time they have played in his face. I'm convinced the producers are trying to justify Brian possibly making it to the finale. So they gave him this win to be like, hey, yeah, he is a good designer. Brian, Bobby, a few other designers, I am gobsmacked that they have gotten as far as they have. Worse dressed. You can't make this up. The fact that Heidi Klum,
Worst dressed. So there's that. You say I needed to see Christian win All Stars as well. Then we could have seen more of his identity. I don't remember him even doing All Stars. He's never done All Stars that I can remember. And they keep bringing back that other Jeffrey. Is that his name? No, yeah, Jeffrey from Detroit. I don't think he came back to All Stars and act like he forgot, how to sew. Um, you said I totally agree with you. He's better qualified to be a judge than any of those on the show. Yes, you need when Zach Poston was a judge, it was really good. It when Michael Kors, like him or not, it brought like they say about Dr. Jackie over there on Married to Medicine. It validated the show having the designers there. Christian has been in the game long enough. I feel like he's more associated with his brand than he is with Project Runway. So yeah, Christian could have been a judge. Heidi, I think Heidi should just be a host. I don't know why they brought Tyra over there, but I will say this, child, they did not bring her over here this week with Winnie Harlow because Winnie Harlow was one of those contestants over there on America's Next Top Model, and she didn't usually have anything nice to say about Heidi. Yeah. I mean, Tyra. So, yeah, they conveniently gave her the week off. We almost to the end and we haven't seen Nina since the first episode. What the heck? Michael Kors was the ish. Yeah. And his runways are still, I don't know, classic. There's something that about classic fashion for me. They're always like, let's bring us something new and innovative. Well, we can take the person and wrap her up in fabric and, what did man say? A tablecloth. Um, they need at least one good designer to be the judge. Who do we have? Zero. We have no designers. We have a celebrity guest. I don't know who that lady was. I don't really be paying attention a lot of times what they be doing. And she sat up there and somehow, as as Law Roche looked at that ugly dress and decided that it was gonna be more pretty the longer I look at it. Um, is this why Nina like I can't? Yeah, she probably like I'm good, y'all. Y'all can put me in the cast photo, but I'm not coming. I'll be back at the end. Nina gonna be gone all the way to the last show, and then she'll show up and be like, "I've been watching y'all." Woo! So this is how they feel, y'all. Bobby is out. Thank you, goodness. Let's weed out. Who should we go next? Hmm. I think that Brian should definitely go next, but they keep putting him and B like pitting them against each other, which we don't care. We don't care about whatever rivalry they had. B went over there and sold all those dresses for this man to get all these accolades. And so I think it's time for B to get his just due. But when you look at his designs, they're quite conservative and not like new. So let's go back to B's dress. Cause yeah, we could have made some alterations for Heidi, like do something with that cape. I don't know about those shoulder pads, but I guess that's him trying to add design to it. When you look at it close up, like this picture is not great, but they don't really put out pictures like I have been able to catch in the past. But the corset is well made. I don't know about his ideas. I think Brian is the one with the ideas, and B is the one with the skills, and maybe that's why they work good together. Brian has immunity. And then they let Brian pick the bottom three, which, okay, this was his moment to get back at Judah. I don't think it was him getting back at Judah. I think it's him eliminating the competition. So next week, I think is the unconventional challenge. I did hear something about the unconventional challenge coming up. So we'll see, but I feel like, as much as I like Anna, it seems like Anna might be losing her steam. She didn't do good with the paper towels, so I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of times when it's your lane, they crumble under pressure. They've been trying to get rid of Joseph McCrae. And unless he does something really incredible next week, I think it might be him because, yeah, because Brian has immunity. They have all sat up here and said he's the weakest link, which I disagree with. But like I said, unless he comes up with something completely different, then Joseph McCrae's the Joseph McCrae show may just end next week. Naeem and but Joseph McCrae got 2 seasons, so I'm not mad at that either. You know what I'm saying? He's had a good run this season. I'm not counting him out. I'm just going based on clearly we're not making decisions based on talent. So if that was the case, then Brian would not be here. But yeah. Naeem and Anna are running out of nice gowns. I think, like I said, Naeem might be in the same position as Joseph McCrae. He's been a little more crafty, and this is our first time seeing him versus us seeing Joseph McCrae for another season. So yeah, like he's gonna have to figure out how to keep his aesthetic and elevate. We'll say elevate. B has also got to get his head up in the game. B may be on the chopping block. If it's not Joseph McCrae, it may be B because B is coming over here with great sewing skills, but he's not ever been. Has he been in the top? Only with the group. He's got great sewing skills, but his ideas are, you know, not there. Not anything new and innovative. Not showing us something in a way we haven't seen it. Um, You said actually they haven't been trying to get rid of him because he's not been in the bottom. You mean Naeem? I don't think so. That yeah, they like Naeem. I think Naeem, he's good, but he's actually gonna, like I said, he gonna have to figure out how to elevate. Like we want to see something elegant from him. So if he can make something elegant, runway ready for, and still in his aesthetic, you know what I'm saying? I think there's like Joseph. Um, You said he has not been in the bottom. No, and I feel like that's designed, for us too. So they can be like, see, he did great. He run challenges. He got immunity. He gets to go to the Super Bowl, but he's out. So he better come with it. It's interesting because these designers, they out talking like they running their mouth. Jeffrey said that was bullshit. I got robbed. That bitch can't even sew. And he's not wrong. Let the sleeves go for at least to the end. If he does something without the sleeves and figures out how to, um I keep saying elevate because that's what it is. Elevate, navigate. You got to switch it up a little bit. And that happens with all of us. I have a particular style. My style is a blend of the 50s, because I love me a good old circle skirt. I love that whole, like, clean look from the 50s. It's a blend of the 50s and the 70s. So, I call it classic urban. That's what I call my style when I'm asked, because I might take a circle skirt and, pair it with some boots and a leather jacket. Not anything different different than what we see in fashion, but to mix it up again a bit. I feel like a lot of times the girls that are into the 50s pinups, they stay very true to the hairstyle and that whole look. So when I look at old pictures of like Lena Horne and Dorothy Dandridge, those would be my inspirations. But I also like Pam Grier and the ladies from the 70s. um there's a blend of that, and I'm talking about my own fashion. So you have to learn how to navigate. Naeem is very young, and there's a particular girl, I think, though, that doesn't like all that frilly stuff. Had his dress been executed this week in a different color, because that drab color was not kicking it, um he could have made it white. I don't know. I don't know what he could have done. Like I don't love this dress. I'm just saying his style. There's a particular girl that would be attracted to his style, and she wouldn't be some frilly pink sequiny gown girl. Joseph, I mean Naeem and Jeffrey's aesthetics are like completely different. Um, so yeah, and I think it's cool to like push yourself. Initially, he started out with a fur and chiffon. Like I would have loved to seen what he would have been able to do with that. I disagree with Christian that only that it's difficult. Does not mean impossible. If you can figure out a way to make things work, you definitely, can run with it. But in one day, that's not enough time. That's too ambitious. So yeah, that's my opinion. I think next week it'll be probably Joseph McCray or B, unless Anna chokes because she's hit or miss these days. So that would mean top three leaning towards Jeffrey, Naeem, and Jude. I don't want to see Brian in the finale. So y'all can quit playing with that bullshit either. I don't want to see him like throwing yards of fabric around somebody and calling it a couture. Prada has a red fur dress. Naeem. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Motown Investor. He was on the right track. But when you start using fabrics that you've never used before, like chiffon, you got to go slow because if one little snag and it's going to run all the way through your fabric. You just have to be so careful with it. And then to add fur, like I said, not impossible, but definitely you're going to have to know that technique. I don't know that he had a lot of time to play around with it and figure it out clearly. But I would have loved to see what he was going to do with it. All you need is 12 stitches and you can make a whole dress. Overall, Joseph is more interesting. I want to see versatility. Brian gonna be on the behind though. Probably. For whatever reason they want him here. I'm leaning towards. I don't know who said it earlier, but he knows somebody. He got to have some connections because his catalog over there of all that avant garde stuff that he didn't sew. And then he coming in here talking about my intern, my intern, my intern. Step your skills up. I don't like him. I don't like his attitude. Um, I don't like this idea that he's so proud of bullshit that he knows is bullshit. That dress that he started. Let me show them again. Let me go back over here again. It's so frustrating. These dresses don't even look nothing alike. He just made a whole nother dress. Now you can't tell me that this neckline I've seen it on 1,000 women on 1,000 red carpets, just like what's his name? La Roche said. This green dress that Heidi Klum had on, this color isn't even flattering on her, and I love green. This dress could have used a keyhole. I don't know. It could have used a few more stitches. We'll be stuck here. When I say we, I mean me. So yeah, Bobby's out. We're not upset about that. And Brian is on top. So thankfully they went ahead and let us know we don't have to wait until next week for them to tell Bobby to go home. Um, and that's all I got, guys. It's been really cool hanging out with you on my Saturday evening. Um, Hopefully you will be back next week so we can continue to talk about these fashion over here. And yeah, I'm gonna keep my ears to the street and see what's going on, down to the runway because ain't a whole lot going on over this runway. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you Monday at 10:30 for some coffee talk. So if you want to get into some of the, things that's been going on, whew, I've been stressing this week reading. My timeline got me stressed out. I need a, drink. You said, I hope we don't see any more green salads or curtains panels. To go to Africa, if we were going to have a real runway, my choice would be Jeffrey, Joseph McCray, and Jude. I feel like we would get an array of talent. I like Anna. I think she's talented, but I think she's kind of burnt out maybe with ideas. Y'all have a good weekend. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all Monday at 10:30. Bye.